Okay, so in the first week we looked at formatting it, and I left you with one that actually had the colours slightly mixed up. So I have reset these. Now, if you are looking at it and you're wondering why you don't use the table auto format colours, yes, you can use those, but I'm showing you a manual process for colouring things where we use the format painter to replicate colours down. So this week we're going to look at validation and verification. I'm going to use this as the basis, but I'm going to have to deviate slightly from it. So let's start off with how we can enter validate numbers. Now, do you remember last week we put on a comment saying you had to do certain things in here? Let's look at how we can use data validation to improve that. So data validation, and let's start off with we're going to allow a whole number, and it's a whole number that is greater than or equal to 0. Now that might be acceptable, or we might say actually it's greater than or equal to 1, because if we had 0 units ordered, actually we wouldn't record that. So let's put that as 1. There we go. Now there's other things we can do with that is you can go into data validation, and there's a whole range of things like we might allow a decimal number or any value in that. Any value is essentially turning it back off. So we've done the first bit. Let's click OK there. Right, let's have a look at our reps names. For ease, what I'm going to do is just copy my reps names here and go to home. Oh, is it home? No, it's not. Data, remove duplicates, and remove our duplicates. Okay, so here's our list of names. Now, what I want to do is change my names or add people into this from a drop-down list. So I've got two options here. I'm going to show you both. So one option is to highlight where we're going to put it, go to data validation, tell it it's going to be a list, and in here, the source, oh, I thought I could paste in there, maybe we can't paste in there. Maybe it's because we've got a carriage return in there. Andrews, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a quick go. Let's take that. Let's paste that. Transpose into a list there. Equals that. And I'm going to put commas between that. So now you've got Andrews, Jill, etc. And we're going to concatenate that. What's happened there? Let's just go back. That, comma, that, comma, that, comma, that, comma. In case you're looking at that, concat we'll look at in a later week where we're looking at text functions. But essentially it means join it together. And I'm only using this just briefly because what I want to do, let's just paste that as a list. This isn't part of this week. I'm just getting myself that list of names there. Because the reason we're doing that is it saves me typing it in. So if we only had a few people, we might go to data validation, choose a list, and then put it in there. And now every time there's a comma, that indicates a different person. So if we went down the bottom and then we wanted to record someone new, we'd be able to go in there and put it straight in there. Now, the other thing you can do is go to data validation, and rather than typing in a list as I did, you can click on the row source and you can highlight a list like that. So if the list exists in this sheet or even on a different sheet where you've got your lists, then you can do exactly the same thing. So that's two ways to use the list. Okay, next thing we can do is we can limit text. So let's look at the region. Oh, data validation, and let's get to text length. So if we want the number of characters to be 0 characters to, let's say, a maximum of 10, this is just like your databasing where you can limit the number they can type in. They can't exceed that. Okay, let's hop over to dates. So on here what we're going to go is to data validation, and we're going to go to dates. So date is Maybe we want to say greater than or equal to, and within here we can type in a fixed date, or we can use the today function. So we can specify it has to be after today, so you can't enter things in the past. Similar to date, you've also got time functions where you can specify certain times things can be entered and they can't breach those rules. So we've worked through a few bits and pieces there. Now the next thing is verification. Let me just tidy this up. I don't like leaving things lying around. I'm going to leave this list here because obviously at the moment this validation is using that list. I don't want to lose that. Maybe what I want to do though is just move that out of the way a bit. Let's call this validation lists. What I could do is, if I want to, is hide that column later so no one can see them. Okay, so let's go into a validation. So let's say, for example, what we want them to do is type in the item, but we want to type it in twice. So item verification, pass or fail. So I don't want my reps to be making mistakes when they type things in here, so I'm going to get them to type it in twice. So they enter pencil once, they enter it twice, and then what I'm going to do is a bit of a verification test. Equals that, equals that. So this formula is saying start a formula, does that formula equal that formula? If the answer is yes, we get a true. If the answer is no, we get a false. So a really nice little formula there. Oh, didn't like that. Let's copy that formula. Let's highlight the formula. And let's just paste the formula down. Pasting the formula doesn't mess with your formatting. So now you can see here, if they enter pencil, then it's true. This is particularly useful when you're getting people to enter their email addresses or their phone numbers, because they can enter it twice, and then if it works, it can go true, false. The other thing you can do with this is you can do things like if statements. So it can give people information back. So if they enter that thing twice the same way, then it can tell them something. If not, it can give them some instructions about how to fix it. So that's the second week, which takes you through validation and verification. Now, obviously, both of these things are really important for business spreadsheets because whenever people are entering data, it needs to be accurate and correct. So there's lots of different scenarios where you can talk about using this. Thank you.